Okay, so are you ready to go down the rabbit hole?
Always.
This week we're diving into the Agatha All Along finale. And phew, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, they really threw us for a loop, didn't they?
Big time. I mean, answers, but also a whole new set of mysteries. I mean, think about all this research you gave me. I mean, I even found a few video breakdowns.
Oh, wow. People really went all out.
They did. It's not just a season finale. It, like, changes the whole game for magic in the MCU.
Totally. Like they were playing chess and we were stuck with checkers or something.
Right. Like, remember how we all thought the Witch's Road was this mystical path to ultimate power and all that?
Yeah.
Well, turns out it was all an illusion.
Smoke and mirrors, basically.
Rarely. Billy's subconscious, his desires, anxieties, they were the real architects of those crazy trials.
I know. It's funny how we're so used to these like mystical realms and stuff, but this finale kind of flips that on its head. Magic in the MCU, at least. It's really tied to personal will and belief and, all of that.
Right. It's like those Wizard of Oz figures in Billy's room. They weren't just Easter eggs or something.
Yeah.
They literally became the foundation for those challenges.
Yeah.
The showrunners actually confirmed that. Everything from the Scarecrow to the Wicked Witch, it all manifested because of Billy.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's like his childhood fears and dreams, they were like literally building the path he had to walk.
That's a good way to put it.
And you know what's cool? It adds another layer to Wanda and Billy's connection.
Uh-huh.
They both have this immense power, right?
Right.
And they both kind of warped reality, to cope with loss and everything.
Yeah.
But with Billy, we're seeing that connection to the subconscious play out in a totally new way.
Totally. And, we got to talk about Agatha's backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting like a classic villain origin story,
Hmm.
but it was so much more complex.
Way more.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Her son, Nicholas Scratch, he wasn't a product of magic at all.
Nope.
She literally says he was made from scratch,
Hmm.
like a regular kid.
Exactly. And that's huge because it totally reframes her motivations. It's not just some power-hungry ambition thing. It's the grief of a mother who lost her child.
It makes her quest for power even more tragic, right?
It's like she's trying to defy fate itself.
And it really makes you think, like, how far would you go to cheat death
Yeah.
if you had the power?
Oh, man, I don't even know.
Right. It's a heavy question.
It is. And you know what else is fascinating? How her story mirrors Wanda's loss, but leads to such a different outcome.
Totally.
Like the show is exploring the different ways grief can manifest, especially for those who wield so much power.
Yeah.
Wanda retreated into a fantasy world, but Agatha chose this path of relentless pursuit, always searching for knowledge and control.
It's almost Shakespearean, right?
Totally.
And speaking of defying expectations,
Oh, yeah.
remember Rio?
Uh-huh.
Well, buckle up.
Mm.
Turns out she's not just some powerful witch. She's death herself.
What? No way.
Yes.
Talk about a plot twist. And
Right.
what's so brilliant is how it completely flips the Death and Thanos dynamic from the comics. We're used to Thanos obsessing over Death, trying to win her over and everything.
Yeah.
But in the MCU, it's Death who's hopelessly in love with Agatha.
And she's having none of it.
Yeah.
There's this whole unrequited love story, a cosmic game of cat and mouse.
That's amazing.
Right. And it adds all these layers.
No, like,
It's not just about power struggles now.
yeah.
It's this tangled web of love and loss and power.
Oh, and we love those Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah, always.
So let's jump into some of the things folks might have missed. First one, that distinctive purple magic that Agatha uses.
Uh-huh.
It's not just for show, it's a tribute to Nicholas, her son.
Oh, wow.
When he was a kid, he called it her purple.
Oh.
I know, right? It's so heartbreaking, this
Yeah.
menacing power. It's actually rooted in her love for him.
It makes you see her in a whole new light, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's
Like-
like even villains have these deeply personal motivations, and sometimes those motivations come from love and loss.
That's deep.
It is, and it adds so much depth to how she uses her magic, even in her darkest moments.
Did you catch the dandelion motif?
Oh, yeah.
That's Easter egg number 2. You see young Nicholas blowing those seeds, and then later there's a dandelion growing in Agatha's final trial.
It's like a symbol of hope, right?
Yeah, resilience and rebirth, even in the face of loss.
It's like the show is hinting at continuation, even after death.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Makes you wonder if that foreshadows anything.
Okay, Easter egg number 3.
Yeah.
Those bronze shoes in Billy's room.
Those were creepy.
Right. Well, they actually represent the Coven members who died on the Witch's Road.
Oh, wow.
3 pairs of shoes for Jen, Alice, and Mrs. Davis.
It's a chilling reminder of the cost of all this magic.
Yeah.
Their potential is just gone.
It's like a visual echo of that theme of loss and sacrifice.
And it makes you question how much has been lost because of Agatha.
Right, like how many more will suffer.
Before it's all over.
Well, it's a lot to think about.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
But you know what else? Amidst all that darkness, the show also had these moments of hope and progress. Like Billy and Eddie. They finally admit they love each other.
Oh.
And did you see the transgender flag in Billy's room?
Oh, yeah.
It was subtle, but it was there.
I know. It was so cool to see that.
The MCU is finally embracing representation.
It's about time.
Right.
Especially for younger viewers. To see themselves in these stories, it's a big deal.
It normalizes those identities. Shows anyone can be a hero.
No matter who they love or how they identify.
And speaking of heroes, what about Wiccan's new look?
Oh my gosh, yes.
He's finally rocking that comic-accurate costume.
He looks so good.
It's more than just a fashion statement, though, right?
Definitely.
Like, what does it all mean?
It symbolizes his growth.
Yeah.
And him accepting his magical heritage.
Yeah.
Like he's stepping into his destiny.
Just like his mom, the Scarlet Witch.
Totally.
It's like a visual representation of his power.
And that connection to his legacy.
Centuries of witches.
It's amazing.
And then we see Agatha. She's been transformed into a ghostly form.
Oh, yeah.
Which is straight from the comics. But it's also like a consequence of her choices.
A new chapter for her.
It's kind of poetic, isn't it?
Totally.
She spent centuries chasing power. And now she's reduced to this spectral form, bound to Westview.
It's a reminder that even the best laid plans can backfire.
And that sometimes the greatest power is in acceptance and letting go.
That's deep.
And remember when Rio slices through the backdrop of the Witch's Road?
Oh, yeah.
It was a powerful display of her abilities.
Super powerful.
Like death plays by her own rules.
You don't mess with death.
Exactly. And it makes you question, was the Witch's Road ever even real? Or was it just a projection of Billy's subconscious?
A playground for his powers.
And if death can cut through it like that.
What does that say about magic in the MCU?
Whoa.
It's a big question.
So many unanswered questions.
I know.
Like, what about Agatha on the Titanic and the Hindenburg?
Right. What was she doing there?
Did she use magic to survive?
And if she did, what did it cost?
It adds another layer to her story.
Like, is she a survivor? Or a villain? Or both?
And what about that creepy red crescent moon?
Oh, yeah. That was Easter egg number 4.
Okay, so what does it mean?
It felt like a bad omen, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like right after Jen escapes the Witch's Road,
Yeah.
it pops up, almost like a warning sign.
Could be foreshadowing future conflicts.
Maybe even tied to Billy's powers.
So many possibilities.
No.
And what about Billy himself?
Right.
Where does he go from here? Will he find Tommy?
And if he does, how will Wanda react?
Oh, man.
We know she's looking for her sons.
This could be a huge showdown between her and Agatha.
Is Billy caught in the middle?
Like a magical family reunion.
But probably an explosive one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely explosive.
This is what makes these MCU stories so awesome.
They keep you guessing.
Always planting seeds. And we just have to wait and see.
What happens next?
It's so much fun to speculate, though.
Oh, for sure. And did you notice? The title of the finale is Maiden Mother Crone.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a cool title.
It's a reference to the triple goddess.
An archetype that represents the 3 stages of a woman's life.
And it totally aligns with Agatha's journey.
It's brilliant.
It is.
You see her as the maiden, young and ambitious. During the Salem witch trials, then as a mother, fiercely protective of Nicholas,
Yeah.
and finally as the crone.
A figure of power and experience, but also tragedy.
It's such great storytelling.
It really adds depth to Agatha.
And it ties back to that theme of transformation.
Agatha, even as a ghost, she's still evolving.
Speaking of evolving, did you know Rio and Agatha used to be lovers?
Oh, yeah.
Their relationship was super tragic,
Oh.
but it adds so much to their interactions in the finale.
It's the past coming back to haunt them.
Right.
Agatha's trying to distance herself, and Rio, well, death, seems to be holding on.
Like yearning for her.
You can feel that tension in every scene they share.
It's electric.
It's like their history is this unspoken language.
Full of resentment and regret.
Maybe even some lingering affection.
And the fact that death offered Agatha more time with Nicholas, it adds another layer of tragedy, doesn't it?
Totally.
Like a twisted act of compassion. A gift with a terrible price.
It shows how seductive power can be.
The temptation to cheat fate.
Even if it leads to disaster.
But the coolest thing is how the MCU flips the death and Thanos dynamic.
You're right.
In the comics, Thanos is the one obsessed with death.
Yeah.
But here, it's Death who's infatuated with Agatha.
It's so clever.
It humanizes Death, doesn't it?
Totally.
She's not just this cosmic force.
She's capable of love and heartbreak.
And maybe even possessiveness.
It makes you wonder what Agatha represents to her.
Right. Is it just a past love? Or is there something deeper going on?
Something that connects Agatha to the very essence of death.
Whoa.
It's like the show is hinting at this profound connection.
Something beyond life and death.
And it makes you think, could Agatha's journey, her defiance of death, be tied to that cosmic balance that Rio mentions?
Yeah. Is Agatha the key to understanding death in the MCU?
It's mind-blowing.
These deep dives are so rewarding.
They really are.
Before we wrap up,
Oh, yeah.
there are a few more Easter eggs we got to talk about.
Hit me with them.
Okay, first, the music. Remember those eerie choir vocals when Agatha's running through the woods?
At the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were creepy.
Well, they sound a lot like the Salem witches.
The ones who put Agatha on trial.
Easter egg number 5.
It all comes back around.
Right. It connects her past to her present.
And sets the stage for her future.
Redemption or darkness.
Who knows?
And then there's Greensleeves.
Oh, yeah.
The Coven sings it when Agatha arrives.
That was Easter egg number 6.
It's a classic English folk song, but it's often about unrequited love and betrayal.
Interesting.
Could it be foreshadowing?
Maybe?
Agatha's betrayal of the Coven?
And her relationship with Rio.
The darker side of magic.
Love and loss.
Speaking of foreshadowing, did you notice the colors in the finale? Gold and purple.
Oh.
That's Easter egg number 7. Gold usually means purity, divine power.
And purple is royalty magic.
And for Agatha, a
Yeah.
connection to her son, Nicholas.
Right.
So that clash of colors,
Gold versus purple.
it could be the struggle between good and evil.
Agatha's ambition versus her humanity.
Like a battle happening on a symbolic level.
Oh.
And don't forget about the waxing crescent moon.
Oh, especially during Alice's trial.
And the final showdown with Rio.
That was Easter egg number 8.
It's a powerful symbol in witchcraft.
New beginnings, growth, manifestation.
Could it be Alice wanting a fresh start?
Or Agatha's ambition.
And then it turns red after Jen escapes the witch's road.
Spooky.
What does it all mean?
Maybe Wanda's influence.
Or more chaos on the horizon.
This finale is a tapestry of symbols.
Unraveling them is half the fun.
That's what makes these deep dives so rewarding.
Discovering all the hidden layers.
It's the brilliance of the MCU.
Okay, before we get to our final thoughts,
Mhm.
I got to bring up that scene with Billy where he finds that boy.
The one who almost drowned?
Yeah, what if that wasn't a coincidence? What if Billy subconsciously manipulated things?
To create a vessel for Tommy. That's a wild theory,
Right.
but it raises some serious questions.
About Billy's power.
Did he influence life and death?
It's a chilling thought.
It is.
It adds a whole new layer to his journey.
Is he controlling things?
Or is he just a conduit for chaos magic?
Like his mom,
That's a question for future MCU projects.
for sure.
It really highlights that complex relationship,
Between power, responsibility, the unintended consequences.
even with good intentions.
Our actions can have huge ripple effects.
Billy's journey is just beginning.
He has a lot to learn.
It's a classic MCU twist,
You think you know who the good guys and bad guys are?
but the lines get blurred.
Sometimes the greatest threat comes from within.
That power we try so hard to control.
So what are your final thoughts? That's a tough one.
Right? It's like, where do we even begin?
I think for me it all comes back to those big themes.
Like what?
Well, like the power of perception.
Ah.
Remember how Billy's subconscious literally created the witch's road?
Yeah.
It's a reminder that our beliefs, fears, desires, they can actually shape the world around us.
Especially when magic's involved.
Exactly.
It's like our minds are the ultimate reality-bending tools.
Oh.
Right? And when you add magic to the mix,
Things get really interesting.
kind of scary.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we can't forget about grief and loss.
That was a huge part of the finale.
It really was.
Like Agatha's story, it showed us that even the most powerful beings can be broken by heartbreak.
Yeah, it makes you think about how far we'd go to change things if we had the power.
To cheat fate.
Exactly.
And it reminds us that villains, they're not always so simple.
They have their reasons.
Their motivations are often rooted in real human emotions.
Even if their actions are messed up.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And amidst all that darkness, we also saw Billy stepping into his role as Wiccan.
That was a powerful moment.
He was.
He's embracing his destiny.
With so much purpose.
And compassion.
And that ending. Him setting off with Agatha to find Tommy.
Oh, man, what a cliffhanger.
I know. It opens up so many possibilities.
For those characters. And for the future of the MCU.
It's like we're seeing the rise of a new generation of heroes.
The young Avengers are coming.
It's going to be epic.
I can't wait.
Okay, one last time. Back to that question about Billy.
The near drowning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
Did he cause that to happen? To bring Tommy back?
It's a scary thought.
It is.
But it makes you think about the consequences of magic.
Especially for someone so young.
Like Billy.
Even with good intentions. His actions could have ripple effects he doesn't even understand.
It's a big responsibility.
It's a question he'll have to face as he grows into his powers.
And it's something we'll all be thinking about as we watch the MCU unfold.
Keep those questions in mind.
Yeah.
As you watch the series again.
And as we dive into the next chapter.
Every little detail could be a clue.
That's the beauty of it all.
The story never really ends.
It just keeps evolving.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive.